This phase on the surface seems really, really fun. This is the Playboy phase, the experimental phase, phase 2 or stage 2. This is, you're single, you could be 20 something, 30 something, you could have just got divorced and you're 55. You can do whatever you want and you allow yourself to do that. This can be a vital stage for men. It's almost like going out when you're 21 and you needed to experiment with alcohol for a while to know how bad it feels eventually, or you have consequences from drinking or being hungover. What's unique about this experimental stage in this time in humanity, or the Playboy stage, the polyamorous stage? I don't think polyamory is good, bad, right, or wrong. I think a lot of it is not done very thoughtfully, or it's done unconsciously. I think for most people it's not sustainable. And I think most people are, from what I found, I've done it as well, finding a way to kind of have their cake and eat it too. How do I have a wife, but I still have girlfriends or I can sleep around? So I have found very, very, very few people that it seems to be working. I'm not saying monogamy is the way. However, I have found more people in monogamous relationships where it's working. So this is the phase where you want to go explore, have fun, do whatever you want to do. What's unique about this right now is if this could have been something that was a summer or a couple years, or you moved to a new country or a new city, it's very different now. Especially if a guy has money and he has sexual options, and then he can do things that he couldn't do. If you were 55 years old, your ability to maintain muscle mass and get an erection in 1980 is very different than in 2025. Radically different. My prediction about this stage, you will see guys that could be 30 something or 40 something today, if they're in this stage and they don't take themselves out, that in 3 decades they can still be in this stage and have a personal trainer, TRT, peptides, Viagra, and now they're 67 years old and they've been doing this for 3 decades. This can be a very fun stage. It can be really fun to go, oh, I really need these things. I really like oral sex. I really like role play. I really like whatever it is, whatever you're into sexually. If you don't go through it, it can be challenging. Because as I mentioned in another video, if you've been married 18 years and you didn't go through this, you need to find a way to bring this energy into the current relationship you're in. Because if you cheat on your wife and you've been married 18 years and you have 2 kids, it can have enormous, enormous, enormous consequences. However, with this stage in general, well, here, you guys can probably relate to this. As men, we don't talk about this a lot. It's become a little bit more of a popular term, but post-nut clarity. Because you can be in this stage, like kind of think you like a girl, and then date her a couple times, and then you sleep together, and it's like God or the universe put a lie detector in men's penises. I know it's weird. I can't explain it, but if you know, you know, and if you know, you do know. You ejaculate, you thought you kind of liked this girl, and then like the hypnosis wears off. And it's like, oh. And as guys, the truth is, when we date a woman, we kind of, you could say 3 buckets, but let's make it simple and 2 buckets. You have girlfriend or it's just sex. Oh, I misspoke. You have it's just sex, right? It's casual, whatever. It's friends with benefits. And then you have girlfriend wife material. You could kind of separate those as like, if it's like wife, it's like the one I'm investing all my energy in. When you hang out here for so long, it kind of erodes who you are and your clarity, and it confuses you. And some guys, I was talking to someone a couple months ago, and they're here and they're dating 4 women, and they're like, but yeah, maybe I'll meet my wife. Anything's possible, but probably there's no fucking way that's gonna happen. Based on the kind of guy, not the kind of guy he is, but the kind of woman he wanted to attract. If he was hanging around here in just friends with benefits, Netflix and chill, the woman that was in his vision is not going to just show up and say, Oh, that's cool. You have 4 women that you're sleeping with that you don't want to commit to. So, the worst thing about this stage is not confronting yourself with how fucking bad it feels. This stage, no matter who you are, is temporary. I would actually say the forced monogamy, what I talked about earlier, it's incredibly constrictive. That's easier to maintain, as painful as that is in a different way. This experimentation, Playboy, could be polyamorous. Let's call it sloppy polyamory. That presupposes there's a better, more conscious form. It just gets more and more painful. I talked to a guy this week, and we can then link up these things, and you want to sleep with a girl so you can feel like the man, feel like the alpha. We can do things to numb out, pick your poison. I've heard it all. It can be anti-anxiety meds, booze, Molly, weed, kratom. I've done all those actually. If you starting to know you're numbing out and know you're in pain, which is guys, we don't always like to admit it. Or by the time a guy brings a problem to another guy, it's like, hey, I'm kind of having this little thing. We're very different than women in that way. We can have a thing of shame around it, or we just want it to be handled in private. Our job is to fix shit. So if we have a problem with shouldn't be dating this girl or sleeping around or drinking or smoking, we would like to just handle it. It's why we don't, it's like an unconscious thing. It's why we don't want to ask for directions. Like, no, I'll figure this shit out. So being in this stage and just being really oblivious and ignorant is actually more comfortable. Where this stage starts to get painful is where it starts to rattle you. Because it hurts more, man. You know, you go and you sleep with a woman and you feel bad knowing, even if she's okay with it and she's a friend with benefits, if there's something deeper in your heart that knows you want to have a wife and have kids and you're wasting your time with this girl. And if you want to go a level deeper, if you're really honest with yourself, it really doesn't matter what you tell a woman. Women are going to base what they feel off something. So even if they agree to a sexual arrangement with you, it kind of doesn't matter because they're going to get feelings. Their bodies just don't work that way. When they have an orgasm, they release a bunch of oxytocin. A woman could have an orgasm by herself and you're in the room and she'll bond to you. We release a tiny amount of oxytocin. So I would invite you to consider and challenge you to go, if you're sleeping with a woman and you're telling her you don't want to commit to her, if you continue doing that, I almost guarantee, and I know this from personal experience, friends' experience, clients' experience, she will think based on how she feels and how often you see her, that there is a chance of you being together. Said differently, you're hurt. If you really want to take full responsibility, you're hurting the woman that you're sleeping with, even though she's agreeing to it. And you're hurting yourself. What is this stage about? This stage is about experimentation and variety. You can be in forced monogamy, have a couple uncomfortable, vulnerable conversations, and get to a version like this in your relationship container where you're talking about things you've been scared to talk about for 6 months or 20 years. But the Playboy phase, the variety phase, it gets more and more painful. Like I said, I've talked to guys this week that are in it right now, and you get to a rock bottom, and it generally at some point, if you stay in it too long and you can justify it, you know, the weed is organic, the red wine is organic, the tequila is biohacking friendly, but generally these things eventually, what accompanies them are drugs and alcohol. And there's justifications. If you're really honest with yourself, it's not to lighten the mood or whatever we say or to relax, it's to numb out. As guys, we don't always know what we're feeling and we don't want to feel it, so it seems easier just to numb out. Again, in closing, this phase, super important to know what you like, know what you want. If you stay in this phase, when you're feeling a call to get out of it, it gets more and more and more painful. It will not get better. You have to confront the phase and put yourself in the fire and burn away what's not you. And that brings us to the next stage and my doorbell. Good seeing you. See you soon.